Good afternoon, everybody. Shall we start class? Are you all ready with your rough notebook and pen? Okay. So in the last class, we were discussing the soil as a resource. Then what do you mean by soil? What do you mean by soil? The name of chapter is resource and development. So as I told, we have two main concepts to discuss. One is resource, we discussed already. Then the development. And under this, we have many concepts to discuss. About the soil as a resource, we were discussing. Then soil is a top layer on the earth's surface, and it's like a grainy substances. And these grainy substances, it has its own physical properties and chemical components are there. It's mixture of the soil is a mixture of all those things. That's what we discussed in the last class. And it's renewable or non-renewable resource. Yes, it's a renewable resources. Soil is a renewable resources because it's continuously under the process of formation. You will get a soil under many processes. That's what we will be discussing about that process. And I drew a diagram of soil profile. We have 4 levels or 4 steps in that. First one is about the bedrock, otherwise parent rock. Then when the parent rock gets into heat, high pressure and the high temperature, that breaks into small pieces. It's called weathering. So their second step or second level, it's about weathered parent rock. Then you will get a subtop soil. There the subtop soil in the third step, it will be mixed with organisms like living organisms, non-living organisms and the vegetations, and under great pressure and great temperature, it will be mixed with the vegetations, and after so long time it will turns and it will break somewhat more small pieces from that weathered rock. It's a subtop soil, then top soil. That's what we discussed. Now the main concept is about soil as a resource. So in soil, it forms under many processes, is not. It has many factors which helps in the formation of soil. So what are those factors? The factors responsible for the formation of soil. Formation of soil. So there are many factors which is caused for the formation of soil. There are many factors in this. The first one, it's about a bedrock, parent rock. You know, what are the soil we have, or the tops or layer which we have on the earth's surface, which is formed or we got from the rock, main thing from it's a rock, the basic one. It's a rock, we got from the rock, it's a parent rock. So let me draw with a picture. Suppose it's a soil. The factors like parent rock, otherwise a bedrock, basic the nature of bedrock, otherwise parent rock, anything. Then relief features, and the vegetation, and your time and other forms of life, and the force of nature. So these are all the factors. First one is the parent rock. In the time, I will discuss deeply about all these factors. Till then, draw these all the pictures like along with the label. Then next important, it's about climate. Climatic factors, otherwise climate. So this all the factors causes or it is responsible in formation of soil or it leads to formation of soil because of all these factors. These all the factors, it's all the formation of in under the formation of soil. These all are the factors of soil formation. Factors of soil formation. Factors of soil formation. So write on this. The first, you can take anything as a first, but the main thing is a base like parent rock, the bedrock, the nature of bedrock that influences in the soil texture, soil color, and chemical components of a soil will be influenced or it has taken or it has absorbed from this parent rock or it has transferred from the parent rock to the soil. The texture and the color, mainly the color and texture of the soil, it is transferred from this parent rock because the soil is formed mainly from the parent rock. So these all other factors which causes for the formation of soil. When time means when that rock goes under all these factors for a long time, long geological time, then it will form the particular soil. Ultimate particular soil will be formed under these all the factors when the time passes. So time is the main another important factor is about time. It also causes for the formation of soil. Then relief features. Relief features we discussed in the last year. Relief is nothing but the physical features, the landforms. Here the mountain is one of the relief features. Plain areas is one of the relief features, and the valleys is another one of the relief features. Desert, coastal areas, then the islands. These all are the examples for these relief features. Different landforms and the plateau, tableland. It's also example for these relief features. Here, what happens due to these relief features, it influences or it directly affects into the formation of soil. Here, suppose we have a rock here. The mountains, we have rock there, isn't it? Most of the mountains are made of rock because volcano and the convergent of boundary. So that has formed uplift of land. It has formed the mountains. We know that. Here in the mountain, suppose in the Himalayan mountain ranges. We will take example as Himalayan mountain ranges as an example. Here in the Himalayan mountain ranges, there from the middle to peak, it is covered by the ice because when the height increases in the atmosphere, temperature decreases. That's the reason with the lower temperature that water molecule turned into the frozen. Then it has become the ice there. It has covered in the middle towards the peak. So with the high temperature, by the high temperature then global warming, this water which is there in the solid form that turns into liquid. Then that start to flow towards the southern direction. Means the slopey area, mainly slopey area. We go towards this northern direction, but here we have a slopey area. So when it moves towards slopey area, means the shallow area, here it's a steep slope. When the water falls from great height, the velocity of water speed will be high. So when the speed increases here, the outer layer of this rock that removes faster than any areas in the plain area. Suppose we have rock in the plain, is it not? Here it takes more time. Here, this rock takes more time to form a soil. To form a fist of soil, it takes more time because the other force of nature, it's there here. The force of nature is there here, like a work of wind, work of water. It's all the force of nature. The glacier, work of glacier. It's all the force of nature. Here we can get the force of nature in the plain area, but it takes a long time because this all the force of nature that can remove the small portion of a layer of a rock because it's not having much force there. But here the force of water will be high because it's having different land features called as relief features. So here also in the valley areas, suppose it's a rock. And when the rain prevails over here, along with the runoff water, the layer of a rock that removes, it's called as a weathering. Then it forms the soil and it will be deposited over here. So such a relief features causes to form a soil with a less time, with a less geological, in a less geological time, it can get a soil in the different relief features. Suppose it's a plain, it takes more time. It's having connection with each other. Then the vegetations. It's the first level. When this soil are weathered soil, so here the parent rock, after that force of nature. Force of nature, what are those? Like work of wind, water, and the glacier. It's all comes up with this force of nature. So when the parent rock met with this all the force of nature, it forms some sediments like piece of rock. It's called as weathering. Then when it's mixed with this relief feature, suppose when we get this all the force of nature in the particular relief features, with the less time we'll get a soil. When the soil mixes with the vegetation, it will get more humus in it, fertility. It will get a humus, fertility with the dead particles of plants and animals. When it mixes with the soil particles, it will get a humus. Climatic factors, high temperature, low temperature. Suppose in Rajasthan, if you go to the Rajasthan there, and that suppose we have one rock in the Rajasthan, always that area will be prevailed by high temperature. So the rock will be somewhat hot. If you touch that, you can sense the hotness of a rock. If you pour a cold water into that, suddenly into that rock, outer surface of the rock, it will get some cracks, small cracks. You cannot see, but it goes on. Under the same process for many years. You can see the break of a rock there. You will get a piece of rock from that. So it's called weathering. So that's how the climate works in getting the soil. Then the other forms of life, like animals. So vegetation is only about the plants. So here animals, dead particles of animals, the decomposes. So it decomposes and that gets a humus in the soil. That's what these all the factors of the soil. Soil is mainly we get soil from the parent rock. Parent rock is bedrock. It's a parents. It's a rock. It's a son or daughter. It's a children of a parent. It's a rock. Suppose it's children of a rock. Rock is a parent. So these all the factors which makes a soil. These all the factors like the teachers and other friends, the family members, and the nature, everything makes a human being. Suppose it's a children. It's a parent. Rock is a parent and soil is a children. So along with these parents, these all the teachers and all the family members, friends, all they make this soil like this child as a human being, the social animal. Same like that. These all the factors which makes a soil, complete soil. Is that clear? Write on this. Write on this picture diagram. So we'll get a different color, texture because of this parent rock. Then we'll get a different humus in the soil and the chemical components in the soil because of these vegetations and other forms of life. And we'll get a different size in the soil. Every soil are not having the same size. It's not. Every soil are not having the same size. It varies because of these relief features and this force of nature. Because the force of nature relief features will get a different size, different texture in the soil. And that's a good. And we'll get a fineness. And some soil will be very humus. You will be having more humus like alluvial soil. And the grain will be very less. Means like what you call the size of the soil is very less. When this soil gets more geological time under the same process. When that soil gets under this all the process by having more geological time, so that fineness will be more. The soil fineness will be more. So this is all about the factors of soil formation. Is that clear? Have you written? Let me see. Righty fellows. Okay. Is that clear? Okay, did you understand? It's about the formation of soil, the factors of soil formation. Next we go for next concept. We move into next concept. So same here we have sub concept to discuss in this soil. So now what we discuss, the soil meaning we discuss about the features, and now soil formation, the factors of soil formation we discuss. Now we will go for the classification. In India we have various types of soils, not only one type of soil we have, is it not? Once if you go towards the southern part of Karnataka, you will get a different soil. Here itself in the northern part of Karnataka, here itself we have different type of soils. As you go towards western direction, you will get a black soil. If you go towards the south direction, you will get a lead red soil, like a red and yellow color soil. Is not it? If you go towards northern part of India, you will get somewhat different types of soil, but every soil will have a different chemical components in it. Will be having a different physical structures in that. Like the size of a soil, it varies. As we go towards the western part of India, there we have Rajasthan. The size of the soil is somewhat bigger, like a sand, as you know the sand. So this all we categorized and we made some divisions, and we have given some tag, like a name tag for all those things. So we'll discuss about that. So here in India we have different types of varieties of a soil. The types of soils are there. So these all the varieties of soil are classified or categorized based on their color, based on the nature of parent, like the chemical component, and based on their size, and based on their textures. These soils are classified. Now the classification of soil. Classification of soil in India mainly. So these classifications we made based on, in keeping up with the many factors, the soils are classified. Like the soils of India, soils in India are classified based on their color, texture, size, chemical component, and physical properties. So soils in India, we have many types of soil with a different texture, color, and different chemical components and physical properties in that. So based on that we have a classification. Main soils we have a classification in that. So we'll discuss about that. The classifications. Classifications of Indian soil are like alluvial soil. First one is about alluvial soil. You might be hear this name of a soil, alluvial soil, in the last year in the 9th class. And we'll discuss it. When we get into this discussion about this soil, we'll discuss deeply about that. Then the black soil, then red and yellow soil, red and yellow soil, then laterite soil, laterite soil, mountainous soil, mountain soil, arid soil, so these are the important soils. The names of important soils are classifications of soils in India. The 6 classifications they have in Indian soil. So these all are the classification of soil. So we made a classification of soil based on this all the factors. You must remember, it's not only made on the basis of only color. So these soils are classified under this all the factors like color, texture, the size of it, and the chemical components, and the physical properties. and the time. So all those things are calculated, and based on all those things, these are the 6 classifications of the soil we have in India. So we'll discuss one by one soil types in India and their characters, and the soil and the color, texture, size, and the chemical properties of all the soil we'll be discussing. Write on this. Write on that. Is it all? Is it over? Okay. Now one by one we will discuss. So in among these 6 classifications, 6 types of a soil, there is a one type of a soil which has more, means which spread or which has spread in a more place. It has taken the more number of more percent of Indian land mass has got spread by this one type of a soil. Remaining types of is somewhat shared. What is that type soil? Yes, it is alluvial soil. We know about the alluvial soil in the last year. We have somewhat discussed in when we discuss about the northern plain. It's not northern plain of India. It's completely filled by the alluvial soil or deposited by alluvial soil. It's not. That's what we'll be discussing, but deeply. Alluvial soil. So this alluvial soil is most fertile soil. So it's widespread. This it's like it's one of the main important soil which is widespread in India. Like entirely northern part of India, it's spread by this alluvial soil. And we know how this alluvial soil is deposited. For example, from the like a basic insight. We know the formation of Himalayan mountain ranges, is not? You know the formation of Himalayan mountain ranges? Here Indo-Australian plate, when it is converged with this Eurasian plate, suppose it's India, you will get a south pole there and north pole here, for example. And imagine, and I am showing it in this landscape way. So here the Indo-Australian plate, when it is converged with this Eurasian plate, this portion it has came up because of convergent boundary, because when the both plate came in opposite direction, this plate it has gone upside. So that's how the Himalayan mountain ranges has formed. Is it not? We discussed about that. So when the Himalayan mountain ranges has formed, by that time our northern plain was a shallow area, not like now what we have the plain area. Now it's a plain area. Earlier it was a very shallow area, it was halla. So earlier it was a halla. Why? How it has happened? Means how it has become a plain area now. When this portion came upside, this was Himalayan mountain ranges. It has formed a mountain ranges. Ranges continuous connection of mountains. So this mountain is covered by the ice, because when the height increases in the atmosphere, temperature decreases, you know. So when this ice captured there due to the high temperature and the global warming, this ice started to melt. Then it is turned towards liquid form. The water turned towards liquid form. When this melted water is moved towards shallow area, means that moves towards a shallow area always, isn't it? So when it moves towards a shallow area, it was flowing from a great height in the Himalayan mountain ranges. So it has carried the sediments along with that, sediments of mountains, like sand particles and the soil particles are the piece of rock carried by these rivers, and it has deposited. So it has deposited in the shallow area. So it has continued for thousands and lakhs of years. Then now it is filled. The shallow area is filled by these sediments, which is brought up by these 3 main rivers and its tributaries. 3 main rivers are Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. So that's how this Himalayan mountain ranges has formed. So northern plain. That's how this northern plain has formed, and also the Himalayan mountain ranges. So this entire northern plain is filled by this soil named called as alluvial. This alluvial soil is carried by this river water. So not only here, we can see this alluvial soil in the bank of rivers, like in the southern part also. The river Godavari, Ganga, Krishna, Kaveri, there also we can see this alluvial soil only in the mouth of a river, in the delta region. So we'll discuss about that. So I have understood how this alluvial soil is formed. So then we'll go for next step. This the basic you should know how it has formed, all those things is required. So this alluvial soil is the most widespread soil. So this soil is the most widespread soil in India. It's the most widespread soil in India. This entirely northern part of India is covered by this soil. Around 7 lakh square kilometer. The catchment area of alluvial soil is 7 lakh square kilometer. It's a 7 lakh square kilometer. It has spread across the 7 lakh square kilometer and it's most widespread soil in India. This soil is not, it is, as I told, the soil, it has gone under many processes to form the soil, ultimate soil, as like you have told. It's not. The soil will be having different texture, different size and different color in it. So here, in the size, and it has mixed with the clay and silt. So it's mixed of clay, sand and other forms of soils. So this alluvial soil is not only formed with only one form, it has mixed with the other different forms. Like it is a mixture. So it is a mixture of sand, clay, particles. It's a mixture of sand, clay and mud particles are all mixed in, or it's made up of all those things. And this mainly the alluvial soil is carried or deposited or is formed. This soil deposited by the work of three important Himalayan rivers. It's called as Himalayan rivers because these rivers get birth or get source of water from the Himalaya. So that's the reason we call it a Himalayan rivers. So what are those? The river Ganga, and the river Indus and river Brahmaputra. So these are the three important rivers which is cause for the form or deposition of alluvial soil. The river Ganga, the river Indus and Brahmaputra. It's also called as the Himalayan rivers. This soil deposited and carried, the sediments are carried by all the three rivers and deposited in the shallow area. Earlier the northern plain is completely shallow area. It is deposited by these three important rivers, not only these three rivers and the tributaries, along the tributaries. We have around more than 10 or 20 tributaries for all these rivers, main rivers. So completely around more than 100 rivers or sub-rivers has formed the northern plain. That's caused for the formation of northern plain. So this alluvial soil, and if you want to discuss about the chemical composition, this alluvial soil is rich in lime. So it is rich in phosphoric acid, potash and lime. These are the chemical components. It's rich in phosphoric acid, potash and lime. And it is food. And also everything, suppose you will be having good things, then you will be having everything will be having bad things along with the good things, is it not? So same like bad, it's not a bad thing, but you don't have, that's it. So it's poor. This soil has a poor content of phosphorus. It has a poor content of phosphorus. It's poor in phosphorus. So it's about a chemical composition, and this soil, alluvial soil, is carried and it's formed by these three important rivers and its tributaries, and it's mixture of a sand, clay and the silt, and it has a catchment area. Means it's covered around 7 lakh square kilometer area in the northern part of India is covered by this alluvial soil, and the soil is most widespread. So right at this point, so we'll go for the next continuation point in this alluvial soil. We have many things to discuss in the alluvial soil. It's because it has a more deposition, means it has a more catchment area, and also we have many types in the alluvial soil, and it has a reason for all the different types. It is varies in different texture also is there, and different humus. We call it a different name. The alluvial soil which has different humus, or more humus, more fertility, it also has a different name. And the alluvial soil with a more size, it also different name. The alluvial soil with a less size, it also different name. And we will discuss how what are all those names and how it has formed. We will discuss about that. Write down this first and we will go for the next one. Means continuation. Alluvial soil is found in northern plain, and I hope you understood about that formation of alluvial soil. Okay. So this was the main concept, the main point you should write. You should write for this alluvial soil. You will get a question. Definitely it is a 1 marks question or the 3 marks question you will get. You will get a question to explain, differentiate between the alluvial soil and black soil. Either alluvial soil, laterite soil, or the alluvial soil, black soil. But you will be having a question on this. It's a fixed question. Always you will be getting question. Either for 1 marks or 3 marks or 5 marks you will be getting question for this. So understanding it better, it is very good. Is that over? Is that over? Okay. So the alluvial soil, it has more fertile. So alluvial soil, it's the most fertile soil than all the other soils. Other soils it's having fertility, but then that the alluvial soil is having more fertility, because alluvial soil will be having contact with the water always. That means it will be getting a more ample amount of water for this alluvial soil. So it has more humus. So because of its having more fertility in it, and it has attracted more population, and it is getting inherently like intensely cultivated. So it is most fertile soil. So it is like the areas having this soil are intensely cultivated, and in this area intensely is cultivated and more population, increased population or more population. because of this fertility. You know, the fertile soil is a basic required for agricultural activity. Agricultural activity is a basic activity for every human being from the ancient period. That's the reason the people they tend to settle in these areas which is having more fertility, so that they can have a good cultivation of the crops, so that they can lead their own, like they can lead their life happily without having much problems. That's what reason this fertile soil is having more demands in the northern part of India. So this, not only in the north, like this soil, this type of a soil or this soil found in entirely northern part of India. And in the deltas of river Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna and Kaveri. So, you know the meaning of a deltas. We call it a river mouth. Suppose it's a landmass. Here we have a water body. When this river, before discharging its water into this ocean or the sea, it creates the physical features like this. Means it gets spread. The main branches get spread. Means main stream that gets spread into the branches. So it's called as deltas. So there you can see this alluvial soil, because we know this alluvial soil is carried and deposited by the rivers, mainly river activity. So the reason we can find this alluvial soil mainly in the northern part, because there are many important rivers and tributaries. In southern part of India, you can find this in this deltas area, like in the river Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna and Kaveri. So these are some important features, and we have many more to discuss. We have some more concept to discuss, like some more point to discuss in this alluvial soil. It has many interesting features, and we have types also. So based on the color and based on the size and texture, we have types of this, and based on the age, based on the age of this soil, also we have a division, segments are there. So we'll discuss about all those things. First, right on this, we'll go for. We'll finish up this class today, then we'll continue the class in next day. Means we'll continue this to discuss about this concept in next day. I hope you understood about this. Make it fast.